Today we will be looking at the distributive property. The distributive property Today we will be looking at the distributive property. The distributive property will be able to help us simplify expressions when we're solving equations, and it will be used through the rest of pre-algebra and Algebra 1. So how do I use the distributive property to evaluate and simplify expressions? If you're looking at some numeric examples, we want to take this 3, we want to multiply it to everything inside of our parentheses. So we have 3 times 2, which is 6, 3 times 5, which is a positive 15. 6 plus 15 will give us 21. Looking down at number 2, another numeric example, 4 times 9 will give us 36. 4 times negative 7 will give us a negative 28. 36 minus 28 gives me 8. Looking at some algebraic examples. So algebraic means that there's letters involved. So same process, I'm going to multiply 5 to everything inside of my parentheses. So 5 times, this is technically a 1g. 5 times 1 is 5. Bring down my g. 5 times a negative 9, which is a negative 45. Here I have a g, and this one does not have a g, so this would be my final answer here. I cannot simplify this any further. Looking at number 2, another algebraic example. So again, I want to multiply this 3 to everything on the inside. So 3 times 2x gives me 6x. 3 times 7 gives me 21. Again, this one has an x, this one does not, so I cannot put them together. So this would be my simplified answer. So there's another method called the box method. So what I would do is set up my box. I'm going to put my 5 on the outside, my g up here, a negative 9 up here, and it's almost like a multiplication chart. So I have 5 times, this is a 1g, would give me 5g. 5 times negative 9 would give me negative 45. And then that box is going to be my final answer. So 5g minus 45. So again here, set up my box. I'm going to put my 3 on the outside here. 2x positive 7. 3 times 2x gives me a 6x. 3 times 7 gives me a 21. So inside my box, I have 6x and a positive 21. And that's my final answer here. All right, so now I want to give you guys a chance to try. So for number 1, what is my first step? Good, I want to multiply 6 times 12, which gives me 72. What would my next step be? Good, I'm going to multiply 6 to negative 2 to get a negative 12. These are both constants, so can I put them together? Good, and I'm going to get a final answer of 60. For number 2, what would be my first step? Good, multiply 2 times 4, and that'll give me 8. What would be my next step? Good, multiply 2 to the t, and that would give me what? Good, a positive 2t. I have an 8 and a 2t. Can I put these together? So this would be my final answer. For number 3, what would be my first step? Good, multiply 4 times 3g, and what would I get here? Good, 4 times 3 is 12. Bring down your g. What would be my next step? Good, 4 times 2 will give me 8, and I bring that down here. I have a 12g and an 8. Can I put these together? No, one has a g and one does not, so this would be my final answer. And number 4, what would be my first step? Good, multiply 3 times 5x, and what does that give me? $15x. What would be my next step? Good, multiply 3 times 7, and what does that give me? Good, a positive 21. Again, this one has an x, this one does not, so I cannot put them together. This would be my final answer. All right, I just want to work with a couple more practice problems with you. All right, so here I have an 11 times 6 will give me 66. 11 times, this is a negative 5c, so a positive 11 times a negative 5 gives me a negative 55c. I cannot put these together, so this is my final answer. All right, looking at number 2. So again, I need to multiply 3 to everything on the inside. So I have 3 times 7b. So 3 times 7 is 21. Bring down my b. 3 times 4c. So 3 times 4 is 12. Bring down my c. And then 3 times 2 will give me 6. So make sure you're multiplying to everything on the inside. This is a b. This one has a c. This one's a constant. We can't put those together, so this is our final answer. Now looking at number 3, 2 times 5a will give me 10a. Multiply 2 to negative 6 will be a negative 12. 2 times negative 4z, so 2 times a negative 4 will be a negative 8, and bring down your z. Again, this is an a, this one's a constant, and this one's a z, so we cannot put these together. This is our final answer. And then number 4, we have just a negative on the outside, so technically this is a negative 1 here. So we're going to multiply negative 1 to everything on the inside of our parentheses. So negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. Negative 1 times negative 9. So negative times a negative gives us a positive 9d. And I can't put these together, so I'm finished here. All right, I want to give you guys a few minutes, just pause the video and give A, B, C, and D a try, and I'll walk through the answers. So for letter A, we're going to multiply 2 times 3B will give me 6B. 2 times 5 will give me 10. And 2 times 12x will give me a 24x. I have a b, a constant, and an x. I cannot put these together. For letter B, what would my first step here be? Good, multiply 10 times -4, and what would I get here? -40. What would my second step be? Good, multiply t times, this is a -1t, and what would I get here? Get a -10t. This is a constant, this one's a variable, I cannot put those together, that's my final answer. Letter C, what would my first step be here? Good, multiply -7 times a -1a. This will give me a positive 7a. What would my second step be? Multiply -7 times 0. What's -7 times 0? Good, is 0. And then -7 times -9c would give me what? Good, a positive 63c. So you can leave your answer like this, or if you also wrote it as 7a plus 63c, that is also correct. You can leave that 0 in or take it out. And then letter D, what would I be multiplying through my parentheses? Good, this is a -1. So -1 times 12 gives me -12. What would I do next? Good, multiply -1 times -2c. That'll give me a positive 2c. Again, this is a constant, this one's a variable. I cannot combine them.